Welcome to Secrets of Chinese Sages. A person with emotional stability is truly remarkable. When everyone around you is falling into emotional turmoil, such a person can help you rise above the negativity. On the other hand, someone who can't control their emotions will eventually destroy everything they're given, even an entire world. When you don't master your mood, you inevitably become a slave to it. Today, we'll explore how to cultivate emotional stability and free yourself from negativity. In psychology, there's something called the wild horse effect. It says that what defeats us is not the situation itself, but the emotions that arise from it. In the African savanna, vampire bats often attach themselves to the legs of wild horses, drawing blood. No matter how fast or angry the horse becomes, it can't shake them off. Eventually, some horses collapse and die. But studies show the bats only extract a tiny amount of blood, not nearly enough to kill. What really kills the horses is their own rage and panic, which causes them to run themselves to death. In real life, many of us are also victims of the wild horse effect. A morning argument with a loved one can ruin your entire day. You might lash out at coworkers or even clients. By the end of the day, you've achieved nothing. That's why we need to learn to distinguish. Is the problem the situation, or is it our emotional reaction? The key to managing emotions lies in awareness. There's a concept called empathic force. I explained it in a previous video, but in short, it means not being overly sensitive or quick to judge. Take a moment, slow down. In today's world, we're bombarded with complex information. Being overly sensitive makes us vulnerable to confusion and emotional manipulation. Empathic force is both a skill and a discipline. While no one can understand everything, we must not let emotions rule us. Events don't break us, our emotions do. In life, you'll inevitably encounter people who speak harshly or treat you unfairly. In such moments, empathic force allows you to hear, acknowledge, and move on, eating, sleeping, and living as usual. Emotions only last about 90 seconds. If you're still upset after that, it's because you chose to prolong the feeling. Some people like making decisions when they're emotional. It feels relieving, but more than 95% of the time, they end up regretting it. So, when negativity arises, stay calm. Don't decide. Don't speak less. Think less. You don't need everyone to understand who you are. You don't need to explain yourself constantly. People only see what they want to see. I've stopped explaining myself unless my interests are directly affected. Even when others lie behind my back, I don't bother correcting them. Those who trust you already believe in you. Those who don't, no amount of explanation will change their minds. Be yourself. Don't let unnecessary people trigger unnecessary emotions. There's a story about two men who encounter a lion in the African forest. One calmly stops to tie his shoelaces. The other says, "Why bother? We can't outrun a lion." The first replies, "I only need to run faster than you." Though darkly humorous, the story illustrates how different emotional responses shape different outcomes. Why are truly capable people rarely ruled by emotion? Because anger is the mark of the unwise, and their lives are usually a mess. Don't be angry. Anger is foolishness made visible. Competent people focus on solutions. If something doesn't work, they adapt. They don't let emotions derail them. Emotions create problems. They don't solve them. No one can control your emotions unless you allow it. Everyone has their own story. The wise learn to control themselves. Pythagoras once said, "Anger begins in folly and ends in regret." In life, frustrating things will happen. That's when you need reason to anchor you. Take road rage, for example. After a minor collision, people shout just to avoid losing face. It's a primal reaction, fight or flight. When anger or fear takes over, all your learning and wisdom disappear. You regress into an animal, but you must remember, you have inherited the ability to control. Choosing rage is choosing to run away, avoiding responsibility. In communication, there's a concept called emotionless response. A child once dropped their ice cream. The mother scolded the child harshly. The child calmly said, "I know I was wrong, but why couldn't you speak to me more gently?" That's emotional stability. Many of us believe expressing emotion makes us better understood, but that's not always true. The feeling of ease is trending online for a reason. Many people lack it. When we forget to book hotels or lose our luggage while traveling, we often feel like the world is ending. But once it's happened, the only thing left to do is solve the problem. Usually, the problem is quite small. Never let your anger be greater than your ability. If you can't handle the consequences, don't indulge the emotion. One professor told a joke to his class. Everyone laughed. A few minutes later, he told the same joke again, only a few laughed. Then again, no one did. He said, if you can't laugh at the same joke repeatedly, why suffer from the same sadness over and over? Anger punishes yourself for others' mistakes. Anxiety torments yourself for your own. The pain doesn't come from the wound, it comes from pulling it out repeatedly and stabbing yourself again. Move forward. Let the pain fade. Don't live in the past. 2 psychological mindsets can help reduce emotional suffering. First, the future-oriented mindset. Recall a heartbreak, failure, or betrayal. How much does it still hurt now? Probably very little. So ask yourself, how will you feel in 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 years? Most problems shrink over time. Second, the survivor mindset. We're taught to compete, to compare, to question, why not me? But a survey showed that most people focus on the 10% chance of failure rather than the 90% chance of success. If you lose $10 out of $100, most people complain instead of being grateful for the $90 left. Different mindsets produce different outcomes. View life as a survivor, and you'll live more positively. There's a story about the Buddha. A rude young man insulted him harshly. The Buddha asked, if you buy a gift for someone and they refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to? The man answered, to me, of course. The Buddha smiled. Exactly. Your anger belongs to you. If I don't accept it, it stays with you. If you hate others, you suffer. If you love others, you receive love. Emotional control isn't impossible. We just haven't paid the full price yet. But when the cost becomes unbearable, we learn. Anger can cost your job, your relationship, your peace. The book, Thinking Fast and Slow, explains our brain's 2 systems. System 1 is emotional and impulsive. It's our default. System 2 is logical but requires effort. That's why success belongs to those who override their instincts. You won't learn control without paying for your mistakes. But once you've lost something important, you'll start learning. Whether employee or entrepreneur, you're not just responsible for yourself. You represent your clients, your team, your company. Mismanaged emotions turn good things bad. One simple technique to diffuse anger. Nod. Just nod. It reduces emotional intensity and increases acceptance. As one famous figure said, if something affects your emotions, focus on managing yourself, not the source of the emotion. Emotional stability builds trust, safety, and reason. Do you believe your mindset can shape your fate? There was once a merchant who lost everything and wanted to end his life. He walked to a river and saw a young girl sitting there. "What are you doing here so late?" he asked. She said, "I want to end my life. My boyfriend left me, and I can't go on." The merchant laughed. "How did you live before meeting him?" She paused, then smiled. "I lived just fine." She changed her mind. Then she asked him, "Why are you here?" He replied, "Oh, I'm just taking a walk." Because in that moment, he remembered he had once started from nothing. Losing it all just meant starting again. And he did. Attitude is the fastest way to change your destiny. Learn to accept loss, spilled water, lost money, breakups, friendships ending. Tell yourself, I accept it. If you can't smile, at least stay silent. Don't care too much about what you think matters. If you stop caring, no one can hurt you. Life isn't always chaotic, but some choose panic, others choose peace. You don't have to pretend you're okay. Most people don't truly care. Just live your life well. You can earn back money, find a new job, make new friends, love again. Life started from zero. Why fear starting over? If you can forgive everything before you sleep, you'll be reborn when you wake. There was once a chubby boy constantly teased at school. Every time someone mocked him, he got into fights. His mother, concerned, talked to a teacher who brought in a psychologist. The expert suggested a game. For 5 minutes, let the others tease him without physical contact. If he didn't react, he'd win 500 coins. Motivated by the prize, the boy endured. He bit his tongue, repeating, "No problem, I'll win the money." After 5 minutes, the bullies were exhausted. The boy won. The next challenge, 5 days without reacting. This time, the bullies gave up. The psychologist told him, "You have the right to be angry, but you also have the right not to be. That's your choice." That realization changed the boy. It wasn't that he never got angry again, but he understood that reacting was a decision. We don't need to stop others from mocking us. We just need to change how we respond. You have the right to be sad, angry, or hurt, but you also have the right to be happy. It's your choice. There's no right or wrong, only what you want. People who manage their emotions well are often highly disciplined. They don't waste time on emotional indulgence. They prioritize. They don't try to change others. They change themselves. They live with depth and grace. They know when to let go, when to forgive. They don't argue over trivial things. Even if someone says the air is sweet, they smile and nod, not because they agree, but because it doesn't matter. They don't seek conflict. They appreciate and enjoy. Those untouched by emotion aren't weak. They're remarkably resilient. Why are you often angry? Because you expect perfection from others. Perfectionism isn't always negative, but it becomes harmful when we use it to judge others rather than improve ourselves. Those with emotional perfectionism impose high standards on others, but not on themselves. We expect people to meet our needs, act how we want, and get upset when they don't. But their words aren't the problem. Our expectations are. When you let go of expectations, you let go of anger. Instead of trying to control others, focus on releasing your own expectations. You don't need to suppress anger, you need to express it correctly. I once saw a business owner calmly tell a partner, "We had a deal in the contract and you've broken it twice. I'm upset. No yelling, just honesty." That's real power. Only when your emotions are calm can your mind think clearly and your brain work effectively. Not controlling emotions isn't about anger, it's about impatience. Emotional stability doesn't mean never getting angry. It means showing anger only when it matters. Don't be quick to react. Don't let others provoke you. When you express anger consciously, it sets boundaries. If we fail to control emotions, it damages families, careers, and relationships. So, stay calm, be rational, and learn how to express emotions appropriately. From a psychological perspective, remember these 5 truths. 1. No one can hurt you unless you let them. 2. When you're suffering, change yourself. Don't try to change others. 3. Other people's emotions are not your responsibility. 4. Thoughts are not facts. Question them. 5. Emotions are temporary. Feel them, and they will pass. Thank you for listening to Secrets of Chinese Sages. Stay balanced, stay strong, and see you next time.